He lost his right arm in one of the bloodiest battles of World War I, but Hans Hube didn't quit. He came back to lead Nazi Germany's elite Panzer divisions across Europe. This is the story of the one-armed general who defied the odds, outmaneuvered his enemies, and became a legend in Hitler's war machine. In 1909, 19-year-old Hans Hube joined the Prussian army, assigned to Infantry Regiment No. 26 in Magdeburg. He quickly made a name for himself as a capable and dedicated officer. When World War I erupted in 1914, Hube served on the Western Front, demonstrating leadership abilities that earned him increasing responsibilities despite his relative youth. In 1916, the Battle of Verdun became one of history's most brutal military engagements. The French and German armies clashed in a battle that would claim hundreds of thousands of lives. It was here that Hube's life changed forever. Shrapnel fractured his arm, leading to field amputation in primitive conditions, a wound that should have ended his career. But Hube refused to be discharged. After a year of recovery, he returned to the front, this time as a company commander. For an amputee, it was nearly unheard of. He retrained himself to write, shoot, and lead with his left hand. Even the basics, saluting, dressing, reading maps, had to be relearned from scratch. The challenges weren't just physical. Hube had to prove to doubting superiors that he could still lead men in combat. He traded brute strength for precision, leaning on rigorous planning and sharp tactical insight. While others led by presence, Hube led with foresight. After the war, when the Treaty of Versailles reduced the German military to a mere 100,000 men, competition for the remaining positions was fierce. Despite this, Hube secured a place in the Reichswehr. During the 1920s, he served as an instructor at the infantry school Dresden and then commanded battalions in the Reichswehr, mastering tactics that would later shape his Panzer leadership. By 1934, Hube's abilities had earned him command of an experimental motorized battalion, the prototype of the Panzer formations that would later dominate European battlefields. This appointment revealed how his disability had transformed his leadership approach. Unable to lead through physical example, Hube had developed exceptional skills in tactical analysis and decisive command. When war erupted across Europe in September 1939, Hube's sharp mind proved far more valuable to the German military than physical completeness. His performance during the early campaigns demonstrated that his disability had become irrelevant to his effectiveness as a commander. By June 1940, Hube was promoted to General Major and took command of the 16th Infantry Division, a unit he would later oversee through its transformation into a full Panzer division. Its transformation put Hube at the cutting edge of Germany's mobile warfare and showed just how much confidence the High Command had in him. Operation Barbarossa in 1941 provided the true testing ground for Hube's command capabilities. Leading the 16th Panzer Division as part of Army Group South under Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt, Hube directed tank operations across the vast Ukrainian steppe with remarkable efficiency. His division spearheaded attacks through Soviet defensive positions, demonstrating his natural aptitude for mechanized warfare. On August 1, 1941, Hube's battlefield accomplishments earned him the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross. What set Hube apart was where he chose to lead from, the front. Despite his missing arm, he kept a visible presence in the thick of battle. His men called him Der Mensch, or the Man, a mark of deep respect. By seeing the fight unfold firsthand, Hube could react fast, adjusting tactics in real time without waiting on filtered reports. During the Battle of Kiev in 1941, Hube's tactical innovations became particularly evident. Near Nikolaju, his division executed a series of rapid flanking maneuvers that helped secure a decisive German victory. For these actions, Hitler awarded him the Oak Leaves to the Knight's Cross on January 16, 1942, a decoration reserved for the Reich's most accomplished officers. By September 1942, Hube's consistent battlefield success led to his appointment as commander of the 14th Panzer Corps, the very formation his old division belonged to. This promotion placed him in control of multiple panzer divisions as the German offensive pushed towards Stalingrad, the campaign that would define the Eastern Front. At Stalingrad, Hube's commitment to frontline leadership led to a direct confrontation with Hitler's strategic vision. As Soviet forces began encircling the Sixth Army, Hube recognized the deteriorating situation before many of his peers. In December 1942, he was summoned to Hitler's headquarters in Rastenburg. There, Hube argued forcefully for a breakout attempt, challenging Hitler's insistence on holding positions at all costs. Despite presenting clear evidence of the strategic reality, Hube's arguments failed to sway Hitler, who promised a relief attack for mid-February instead. During this tense meeting, Hitler nonetheless awarded Hube the Swords to the Knight's Cross on December 21, 1942, a personal presentation that highlighted the contradiction in their relationship. Hitler valued Hube's tactical brilliance even while rejecting his strategic assessment. a decision that would soon prove catastrophic for German forces trapped in the Stalingrad pocket. As the Soviet noose tightened around Stalingrad, Hube received an evacuation order. On December 23, 1942, he was flown out of the encircled pocket, making him one of the few senior commanders to escape the catastrophe that would eventually claim nearly 300,000 German soldiers. This unusual treatment highlighted Hube's special standing with Hitler. Despite their strategic disagreement over the Stalingrad situation, Hitler recognized Hube's tactical expertise and battlefield value. While Hitler punished many generals for failure or dissent, he seemed to separate Hube's strategic objections from his proven ability to execute complex operations. This distinction saved Hube's career when many of his peers faced Hitler's wrath. In 1943, as Allied forces prepared to invade Sicily, Hube received a new assignment. He was transferred to the Mediterranean theater to organize the defense of the island against Operation Husky. This appointment demonstrated Hitler's continued confidence in Hube's abilities, entrusting him with a critical defensive operation against overwhelming Allied forces. On Sicily, Hube formed Gruppe Hube, a formation of 4 divisions combining German and Italian units. Recognizing the impossibility of defeating the Allied invasion force, he implemented a defensive strategy centered on a fighting withdrawal. On July 17, 1943, Hube was placed in charge of all army and flak forces on the island. Hube established the Etna Line around Mount Etna's natural mountain defenses near Messina, designed for progressive retreat while maximizing damage to the Allied forces. What followed became one of Hube's most impressive achievements. Despite Allied air and naval superiority, he orchestrated the evacuation of approximately 60,000 German and 75,000 Italian troops across the Strait of Messina to mainland Italy. Along with personnel, Hube's forces salvaged significant quantities of vehicles, artillery, and equipment. This evacuation denied the Allies the complete destruction of Axis forces on Sicily, preserving combat power for the subsequent defense of Italy. Pulling so many troops out of Sicily before they were captured was a major win for the Axis. After Sicily, Hube played a key role in the defense at Salerno during the Allied landing known as Operation Avalanche. Afterward, Hube was briefly sent back to Germany and placed in the Führer Reserve. But by October 1943, he was back on the Eastern Front, this time in command of the 1st Panzer Army. This force of approximately 200,000 men operated under Army Group South, facing increasingly effective Soviet operations. In February 1944, Hube's position was officially confirmed, placing him at the center of Germany's defensive efforts in Ukraine. March 1944 brought Hube's greatest challenge when Soviet forces encircled his 1st Panzer Army near Kamenets-Podolsky. From March 27th to April 15th, Hube executed a masterful breakout operation. His forces fought through Soviet lines, destroying approximately 350 Russian tanks and 40 assault guns while escaping the encirclement. This remarkable achievement caught Hitler's attention. On April 19, 1944, Hube was summoned to Hitler's mountain retreat at the Obersalzberg in Berchtesgaden. The next day, during the Führer's 55th birthday celebration, Hube received the highest honors of his career. On April 20th, Hube stood before Hitler at Berchtesgaden. It was the peak of his military ascent. Hitler personally awarded Hube the Diamonds to the Knight's Cross and promoted him to General Oberst for his actions in Sicily, Salerno, and for his exceptional leadership during the breakout from the Soviet encirclement. Hube became only the 27th recipient of the Diamonds throughout the entire war, joining an exclusive group of commanders deemed worthy of Nazi Germany's highest military decoration. The significance of these honors reflected Hitler's personal assessment of Hube's military value. Hitler reportedly considered Hube one of the top 3 commanders to emerge from World War II, placing him alongside Field Marshal Erwin Rommel and Field Marshal Walter Model. This evaluation demonstrated the extraordinary regard Hitler held for the one-armed general, despite their earlier disagreements regarding strategy at Stalingrad. Hube's recognition proved tragically brief. On April 21, 1944, just one day after receiving these honors, Hube boarded a Heinkel HE-111 aircraft at Reichenau-Berchtesgaden Airport in Einring. The plane was scheduled to return him to the Eastern Front where his Panzer Army awaited his command. Minutes after takeoff near Salzburg, the plane crashed, killing Hube. The German leadership organized a state funeral in Berlin on April 26, 1944. Hitler himself attended. His coffin was laid out in the Reich Chancellery. Heinz Guderian, another prominent Panzer general, delivered the eulogy. The Guard of Honor included several high-ranking generals such as Walter Nehring, Hermann Breith, Heinrich Eberbach, and Hans Gollnick, further indicating Hube's standing among his peers. Hans Hube's military career illustrates the triumph of determination over physical limitation. He developed a leadership style based on speed, adaptability, and presence that compensated for his disability, ultimately making him an effective commander. His work with Panzer units helped shape how Germany fought with tanks for the rest of the war. However, Hube's story is full of contradictions. His comeback was nothing short of remarkable, but all of it happened under the Nazi banner, serving a war of aggression. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you found this story compelling, check out our other videos on some of Germany's most infamous generals. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into the war that shaped the modern world. And tell us in the comments, how should we remember men like Hube, as tacticians, as loyalists, or as something harder to define?